Hello, and in this screencast for Apache Isis I am going to do a bit of decoupling of my application. I've restructured things a little bit so that I've got separate packages for the various different responsibilities. You can see customer here, the compare view model and so forth. I'm just going to focus on this customer delete action, and it's a mixin. We can see that really most of the functionality here doesn't really care about this is being a customer. I could delete anything because this is the place where the object is removed. The only bit that really does depend upon the notion of a customer is this disablement, where we're going to veto the last the deletion of the last customer. So let's break this out. The first thing I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to create a new subscriber. So re-implement that rule is a subscriber. So we're going to call it cannot delete last customer, and this is going to be subscribing on this event here. So it's going to be public void on customer delete dot uv. We need to say it's a subscriber. I'm using Guava event bus, so that's the annotation for that. And I want to say if the event dot get event phase is equal to disable, then I want to then do that same bit of logic. So it's going to be, just to copy it in for a second, that stuff there. So I need to inject the customers repository, and so if that's true, that's the essence of what I want to do. So if the customer's size is equal to 1, then I want to be vetoing this change. So I want to say disable with the reason of that. Oops. Copy, paste, tidy up. Okay, so that's re-implemented that disable rule as a subscriber. So let's get rid of that, and let's get rid of this, and then everything else that's left here really, as I say, doesn't depend upon anything other than it's an object. So we could make this act upon an object. Why not? So let's rename it to object delete, and let's just make this be an object instead. I guess it would make sense to change that to object, and that would be an object, and I think we're good. Last thing maybe is that should also say object, not that it actually matters in this particular case. So let's try out the application. Okay, so the app is running. Let's see where we are. Okay, there's the home page. Let's just run with fix your script with just say 2 objects, and let's go back to the home page. Let's see if we can delete the second to last one. That seems to work, and then if we attempt to delete the last one, then we can't do that. So that's great. So that seems to have worked fine. But one thing I did notice is that I'm getting a delete action here on the home page, and also if I were to well, let me just create a new object very quickly for a second. So if I were to compare this object with another one just to get to the view model, you can see I've also got the delete action here. And why is that the case? Because this is a mixin action which is being mixed into object, and the view model is an object, and if I try to do this, it all goes horribly wrong. So it would make more sense, I think, for us to introduce the concept of a deletable object and then be a bit more precise. So let's just do that as well. So we'll introduce a new interface. This is quite a common technique to use an interface called Deletable with an E, with an A, with an A. And it should have been an interface. It's just a marker interface. We don't need to have any responsibilities there. But now we can rename this to Deletable, delete, and let's make it act upon deletable things only. Oops. Copy, copy, let's make that deletable. Yes, good, perfect. And then of course what we're going to do is make customer implement deletable, but nothing else. Let's run the application up one more time. And with the app running, already I can see on my home page I've lost the delete action. If I go to customer, I do have my delete action. If I do compare to bring up the view model, then I don't have the delete action. So that's working great. So the very last thing I like to do, I think, is maybe just move Deletable into its own little package, and yes, and let's do the same for the mixin. And then that's nicely pulled out that concept of deletable, and we can make any object be deletable, have that delete action, just by making it implement this marker interface. Okay, hope that made sense. As ever, give it a go.